One of these days, I will get this Twitch thing right without getting rusty at it. A bit of a false start there, but I figured why not? What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay. Friday live at 5, October 30th, 2020. Talking about this first week of Twitch DMCAmageddon and what that means fundamentally for content creators who are now bouncing back and forth between Twitch and YouTube more probably than ever before. Talked over on YouTube about this idea of de facto YouTubers, and that is these Twitch streamers that are basically, they're live on Twitch and literally everything else is on YouTube at this point. Now, it was already common knowledge and the sort of things that people would tell you to do to stream on Twitch and make highlight videos on YouTube, because YouTube has the beefier technology for things like what's called discoverability among these people. But in reality, it's technology. I very much consider that to be a technology thing with the development of search engine technology and things that YouTube uses to run their platform, and the Google technology that is integrated in as well. Not to mention, by the way, the integration with Google itself, since Google's the parent company, as you've seen with various radio style segments on this channel. Google searching for something that is both a Twitch highlight and a YouTube video will show the YouTube video long before it shows the Twitch highlight, even if the Twitch highlight is publicly visible. That's the difference in technology and integration with search engines that there is between red and purple right now. So anyways, it's been a week and I am still hearing about all this DMCA stuff. Twitch resumed normal processing of DMCAs a week ago, and there have been some high-profile examples of creators getting DMCA'd with irrevocable, as of now, copyright strikes, unless you get like counter notification and stuff. And just more and more, the stuff that I was talking about with regards to the differences between Twitch and YouTube have been showing up in spades. There's been tons of it. It's crazy, too. It's just... So, first off, let's talk about what that means for this Twitch channel specifically. My channel on Twitch is going to take more of a gaming direction. It's going to have more of a gaming focus to it. Unless I want to do a behind-the-scenes stream on Twitch like what I'm doing right now, you'll see mostly game stuff on here. It's Twitch's bread and butter. It's the most mature part of the platform, and it's the platform that Twitch is really trying to double down on if you pay attention to their official Twitter and see what they're advertising. Are they ever advertising just chatting personalities? No. They're showing people playing Among Us. They're showing people playing Fall Guys. They're showing people playing Call of Duty. They're really plugging the video game side of what it is they're doing officially again with all these partner spotlights that they're doing. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. Twitch needs to stick to their guns now more than ever. I mean, the expansion era is over. Until Twitch catches up technologically with YouTube, nobody should take Twitch seriously as a platform to have anything resembling YouTube stuff on. No, don't, I mean, you'll have highlights and stuff like that, but the real problem with Twitch is that Twitch streaming right now is at the mercy of an organization, the RIAA, that has been going wild with DMCA and working on automation technology to speed up processing of claims. Now, here's something I find interesting. There were two high-profile examples. We can probably fire up a browser for this one. I've got so many tabs open in both browsers that I should probably... All right, so how are we going to even start with all this? I got so much stuff open here. Oh, there they are. So if we head over to regular browser and relink it, I've removed and re-added this thing, and it's still not working right for Avast. Jake and Bake, this is the copyright takedown. Look at all those tabs. Yes, we've got tabs today. Plenty of it. Too bad the company that makes the soda tab is discontinuing it. Was that Coca-Cola? I forgot. All right, so this is the high-profile takedown notice that's been going all over Twitter for Jake and Bake. We received a notification of claimed infringement with respect to your account. Here are the details, and I can't zoom it in because it's photo mode in Twitter. Whatever. So, all right, let's just reset all this. I really should have just zoomed in on this myself. Can I do it this way? Nope. Just keep it open like that. All right, I'll read the fine print for you. If you have a 1080p display, blow up the screen to full screen. Stream to full screen. Alleged infringing content. Clips.twitch.tv. Source, clips.twitch.tv. Kanye West. and then the one with Michaela that also made the rounds on Twitter and is a response to Jake and Bake's post, clips.twitch.tv, clips.twitch.tv, clips, 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 clips. I hear a snowblower. It's New England. We're getting some surprise snow today. So 50 Cent, bada bing, and Kanye West, bada bing. Popular songs, you play them. RIAA finds out. They make computers to go sniffing all over Twitch for this stuff and automating the claims and stuff. Nothing I'm surprised by. This has been the template, not just for these high-profile instances, but when Foosley shared her takedowns back in June, RIAA was on all of them. I should probably go look at those again if she still has the tweets up and see if it's clips, because that's all I've been hearing about is clips. So how many more of these takedown notices are we going to see on Twitter from all these frustrated streamers before anybody starts to acknowledge this pattern? Clips, RIAA, RIAA. There's a pattern here, obviously. It is clips, it is the RIAA, and it is very popular music. Now, because of this, I've disabled clip creation on my channel and gotten rid of clips, even though I don't use copyrighted music, because this new system that's making the rounds on Twitch is, if it's automated, it's prone to errors and false positives. I'm waiting for the first high-profile example of a Twitch streamer getting a false positive on a DMCA takedown. Why? Because this happened on YouTube. YouTube has worked and polished and refined and all kinds of other things to get to where they are today, which is light years ahead of Twitch. Twitch is where YouTube was many years ago. They have a strikes-only system. And even if they had an alt-mon system, as I'm calling it, alternative monetization, like what YouTube has with Content ID, even if Twitch had something like that, it would not be as interesting to the RIAA as YouTube's because of Twitch's massive emphasis on live streaming, further cemented by all of these streamers who are afraid of getting strikes, who are now blanking their channels. In the most extreme examples, literally just their live feed is all that's on their Twitch channel. Even their clips, in the most extreme examples, they're exporting them to YouTube and then deleting the clips. Quite frankly, I think streamers should stop being lazy. Stop crowdsourcing knowing what the best parts of your stream were to your audience. Use the highlights feature. Send that over to YouTube. You have more than 1 minute as well. So you can say, oh yeah, people like this. I'm going to make a highlight. Send it over to YouTube. Twitch has an extremely robust export feature. Extremely robust. It's one of the reasons why I practically overloaded my YouTube channel. This cord is being such a pain in the neck. I should probably just get a cordless headset at the rate I'm going. But then I have to worry about batteries and crap and have to charge it and whatever. So, here's the thing. Twitch is short on content from all these streamers that are blanking their channels. So, if you want to start talking about altmon, alternative monetization, via redirecting advertising revenue like there is on YouTube, there needs to be advertising revenue to redirect. Where is it right now? Lest we forget, and I brought this up last time, and I'll gladly bring it up again as many times as I need to. Shoot, get the darn slides up on the screen. This is the other one. Let's go to the other one. Prior to DMCA Palooza, the hot issue was mid-rolls and finding better ways for Twitch to scale ad revenue because streamers weren't running ads. Who have I seen running ads on Twitch? Sfand and Tyongi. Maybe Hachu once or twice. But the extreme majority of streamers who are just carrying on have shown me more footage of their chair than ad breaks. So where is the scaling ad revenue that would make an altmon system on Twitch appealing to the RIAA like it is on YouTube? Where is that? I don't see it. And if it existed, it wouldn't be as interesting as YouTube's, because Twitch doesn't have that emphasis on evergreen content, and it is this problem has been made even worse by all these streamers that now have skeleton channels with only their live feed, no VODs, no clips, no nothing, because they're afraid of strikes. So it's a long, dark road ahead for this platform. Team Purple has a lot of work to do, and now they got to scramble even more. Which, hey, nothing like putting in a good effort, doing some good, honest work, and making some progress on this. But this is Twitch's brand, and this is Twitch's competitiveness that is now on the line because YouTube just shows them up so much right now because of this whole strikes only thing. It's why I've been emphasizing the living daylights out of strikes only, strikes only, strikes only, strikes only, strikes only, because on YouTube, there are a lot more options for rights holders that don't involve strikes, strikes, strikes. And I actually did some reading on that this week because some people, I forgot a couple of them because I don't run into them because I don't use copyrighted music. But I have had to deal with some false positives, and that's why I'm so obsessed with false positives coming to Twitch with automated systems, like if the RIAA is running a crawler technology to try and find infringing content. What happens when that thing makes a mistake? The way it is under federal law, it's shoot first, ask questions later. To protect their safe harbor status, Twitch has to do something to take down the content. What system they use is up to them, but there's a couple of things they have to do. They have to remove content that is flagged, and they have to terminate access to repeat offenders. What the details are is up to them. As we've seen with YouTube evolving this to where copyright strikes now expire, and rights holders in general have a lot more options in order to not actually issue DMCA takedowns and send out strikes. So there is, you can mute the audio. A rights holder can have audio automatically muted. They can block the video. They can monetize the video and redirect the ad revenue. And that's the thing. All of those options are available that aren't yet on Twitch. That's what Twitch needs to pursue now. It's Twitch's turn to pursue feature parity with YouTube. At the same time, YouTube's live teams are pursuing feature parity with Twitch on live streaming. Twitch needs to pursue feature parity with YouTube in order for Altmon to be interesting. But Altmon, alternative monetization, will only be interesting to the RIAA if it actually scales. And that requires some form of mid-roll ads on live streams. My personal favorite would be injected ads, so that way you literally do not miss the stream. You just get more and more latency until during maybe an ad break or a dead part of the stream, you just refresh the stream. So an injected ad would be something where the ads, the mid-roll ads are actually injected into the video feed. So that way you don't actually, they don't cover anything up in the stream. You don't actually miss any hot moments in the stream. You just see them later. And eventually that turns into a bit of latency and whatnot on your end between you and the streamer, which when there's a dead part of the stream, you can just refresh your browser and get back to, you know, being real close together. But I think a lot of people watching streamers, if Twitch tried to roll out more ads, would rather have latency to deal with than missing key moments in the stream. And I think injected ads are probably the best way to do that. The reason why Twitch needs it, Twitch has way more of an emphasis on live streaming because they don't have much else, and that's getting worse now, than YouTube does. On YouTube, some kind of thing for, you know, the recordings, the VODs, so to speak, as they're over there, the replays or whatever you want to call them, the stream recordings that are saved, that are converted into YouTube videos, either through spin-off videos like what I do, or letting the tons of extra processing complete for streams after the fact, that creates an environment of lots of focus on after the fact stuff as well. So even if a streamer isn't running a lot of ads, I don't even think there is something like that. Even if there aren't a lot of ads showing up on a YouTube stream, there's a ton of back catalog stuff that people are watching that can be scaled if you redirect the ad revenue. Where do you get that on Twitch? Where would that go on Twitch, especially when all these creators are blanking everything? They're becoming de facto YouTubers. You know what? Put that graphic on the screen. This is something I was talking about on YouTube earlier. This is the new reality for the most extreme cases of de facto YouTubers. I call them de facto YouTubers because if they do this, they're 75% YouTuber. And I don't think much else other than an exclusivity contract with Twitch is the reason why this block doesn't turn red either. So, live stream is on Twitch. That's what you follow. That's what you dono to. That's what you use all the emotes, even the golden kappas that went out earlier this week. Highlights, it was already something people were told to do. That highlights go to, send your highlights to YouTube. It's a more discoverable platform. But now, there are streamers making VOD channels, and in the most extreme cases, clip channels. I heard SFan talk about making an SFan clips channel. So, if you have somebody that does this, 3/4 of what they're doing is on YouTube. What's stopping this one? What's stopping this from turning red right here? Probably some kind of exclusivity deal. That's probably the extent of it. So, is my mouse pointer even showing up on the stream for that? I might have taken it off when I redid this browser source. But yeah, the purple up in the upper left. Yeah, I got OBS now messing up here. So, this is a de facto YouTuber right here. Literally 3/4 of what they do is on YouTube. Why not just stream there too? Might as well. Oh wait, Twitch is the one and only platform out of the big three that has an emphasis on exclusivity. You can get exclusivity contracts from YouTube and Facebook, but when you're talking Twitch affiliate, that has an exclusivity clause for 24 hours for stuff that's streamed on Twitch. And then partner contracts are individually negotiated, and they're all over the place. Because I've seen Twitch partners who can't stream anywhere else. I've seen Twitch partners, Harris Heller, talked once about his contract. He can stream for his first hour on YouTube, and then he has to take it to Twitch for the rest of it. So he starts on YouTube and brings the audience over to Twitch afterwards. But there are organizations like Venn and some other larger content creators coming over from YouTube that are multi-streaming as partners with partnership. So partner contracts being individually negotiated, from what I understand, it's all up to what gets negotiated, or whether or not the streamer has any business sense when they sign on the dotted line without getting a lawyer involved and they get, screwed or something. Like, oh yeah, even if you get banned, you can't stream anywhere else. That's actually my question for lawyers who deal with Twitch partnership contracts. If somebody gets DMCA'd off of Twitch, does that invalidate their contract because it's essentially over? And in which case they just become a YouTube streamer? Because the next thing I'm thinking about with these people that are maybe not taking this as seriously as they should is that what if they just run their Twitch channel into the ground, get banned, then go to YouTube? Now, their former colleagues on Twitch are now required by TOS to block them out of their streams, but what if eventually enough high-profile creators leave Twitch for YouTube, even if it's via getting banned, that it causes a talent exodus, and some other streamers talk with their lawyers, get out, or maybe some even get banned on purpose if that releases you from the contract because you got kicked off the platform? What if that causes a talent exodus? I think this is the sort of stuff that would keep, Twitch brass up at night, because this lack of features versus YouTube now is going to cost them a lot. Strikes only. Who would think that this could snowball into an eventual talent exodus when streamers start getting banned for DMCA? All right, let's take a look at some of these other tabs here. Beginning with, what should we take a look at here? So this is YouTube. This is a YouTube block claim from a Reddit about somebody who is using YouTube streaming as some way of watching something, or using it as a VCR or something. Like he was streaming it and then watching his own VODs later. So he was using YouTube as a VCR. This is actually a notice you get from YouTube when you get Content ID blocked, not a copyright strike. And it even says so right here. This is the kind of, oh, I do have a pointer. Okay, that's cool. It must, something must have glitched earlier then. So, hi, redacted. A copyright owner using Content ID has claimed some material in your video. As a result, your video has been blocked and can no longer be played on YouTube. Now, blocks can be worldwide blocks, as in don't show it anywhere, or it can be country blocks. So you can put different policies for different countries. So let's say you're a German metal band and you're really money hungry and you don't want your stuff being played on YouTube. You can block it in Germany and then it gets played elsewhere. So people have to go through all the trouble of VPNing and whatnot and using proxy servers to see that stuff. This is by UEFA. So we're talking sports here. Why this can happen. Your video might contain copyrighted content. Copyright owners can choose to block YouTube videos that contain their content. If this claim is valid, you don't need to take any action or delete your video. Of course, nobody's going to be able to see it. How to unblock. If something went wrong and the copyright owner or our system made a mistake, we have a dispute process. Please only use if you're confident you have the rights to use all the content in your video. You can also remove the claimed content using Studio's editing tools. Before I replaced the last stream replay that got the bogus content ID claim with a spin-off video, I decided to test this. It's a beta feature on YouTube that drops the bitrate of the audio. So you're going to sound like you're on the telephone for the length of the song, but people can still make out what you're saying. But it degrades the sound quality so that the song that you're using sounds terrible. And then the claim, if the system doesn't recognize it as much, can get released. Now, I don't know what this does if, say, you have music that's like alternative or indie or something that's supposed to sound bad or supposed to sound like it's from a long time ago. Like I remember people making fun of the White Stripes and how, oh, this is so primitive, this is so crude, but they were doing that on purpose, from what I understand, to sound more like rock from the alternative rock from the 70s or something, or punk rock or something along those lines from way back when. So they actually deliberately made their music sound retro in that respect. So I don't know how well the system will work if other people are being stylistic like that. But if it's really highly polished like EDM or something, and it sounds like the speaker is bouncing around a washing machine. So bottom line is, rights holders can do this. They don't have to go on striking sprees. They can just say, okay, well, we don't want this playing on YouTube except on our official channel. If it ever shows up, just block it. And so you just get blocked, and that's that. I don't know if there's some kind of progressive discipline where too much third-party content will start interfering with your ability to do stuff, where enough blocks equals a copyright strike. But that's really the difference. In this case, the system blocks your content because the rights holder said block it. A DMCA strike would actually be invoking the law, take this down. But because YouTube has something like this, there's an alternative so that whoever is issuing the takedowns no longer has to put themselves at risk of brand damage like that. I remember, back during the whole Metallica issue with Napster in the early 2000s, people went around making fun of Metallica, saying, oh yeah, Metallica sues their fans. What a bunch of morons. Well, if we forward that to what's going on right now with DMCA on Twitch, knowing that the DMCA has a reputation for being abused and being overall bad for your image, if a business like the RIAA can just block stuff, why wouldn't they do that instead of issuing strikes? Keep in mind what the RIAA is. The RIAA kind of reminds me of a union sometimes. They exist as a business to make their members more money. So that's why you'll see them chasing down stuff like this. Because if you're not paying the royalties or the fees or the licensing or whatever, they don't want you using their stuff on behalf of their clients. So keep in mind, though, that it would be very easy for somebody on the wrong side of an RIAA action to hate the artist instead of the RIAA. So, from a business perspective, if the RIAA could do something besides Strike-a-Palooza to stop the unauthorized distribution of their clients' content, why wouldn't they do that? So, let's take a look at some other things too. Here's something more recent on YouTube that just came out. New and improved tools to help you avoid and resolve copyright claims. This one is not an image, so we can zoom way in on it, make it nice and big. So this went live. This is a YouTube help file here. We want to let you know about the 3 tools and improvements we have made to the copyright experience in YouTube Studio to allow you to more effectively avoid and resolve copyright claims on your content. With these updates, you can spend less time resolving copyright claims and more time focusing on creating content for your channel. So there's adjustable endpoints. When you get a content ID claim, you can actually trim all over the place now. So you can take out a scene that got claimed if you don't want to try and fuzz out the song and take the hit in sound quality to keep your video in one piece. So you can do all that kind of stuff. Add replace audio. Those who haven't used that in YouTube Studio yet, allows you to replace claimed songs with tracks from our audio library without having to go back and upload or stuff like that. The related claim will be automatically released if you replace the music. But here's the thing here. You can, besides replacing the audio completely from your video, you can also try and block that song out. The more YouTube makes that work better, I think more people would rather have a quality degradation in their audio than to continue having problems with Content ID like that. And this also is where we get into what I want to talk about in the Firefox browser. The YouTube audio library received another UI update, and here is some of what they're saying about their own thing. Now remember, I'm having issues, and I've made a blog entry, and I got to get back to that. Maybe on one of my YouTube streams. We're going to do some digging around, and probably audio swap multiple times, because these are compromised songs we're looking up here. But I have leads, thanks to regular Google, not necessarily searching for these people on YouTube, of other compromised songs on the YTAL. I just got to find out what they are. And as I find these songs, I'm going to put the Content ID video in the blog entry and continue updating that blog entry over on my blog, multimediajay.wordpress.com. Thousands of copyright-safe tracks you can use in your videos and live streams without worrying about copyright claims. So this is YouTube once again coming out and saying, yeah, use our stuff. We don't have to worry about it. Da, 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 da. Except that there's a loophole right now where people could do that, unless it's been fixed and we don't know it. That's what I'm looking for, is I'm looking for YouTube to come out and say that they fix this. So, in addition to, from Classic Studio to the YouTube Studio, in addition to all the existing features we brought over, we've also introduced a few improvements, including an updated UI, starred tracks, and new advanced filters to help you discover tracks and sound effects to include in your videos. With this update, you'll soon be saying goodbye to the audio library in Classic Studio. We know the audio library is one of the most widely used creator tools. Yup. So there will be even more improvements coming. Try out the tracks and sound effects in the audio library on your next uploads. See here. Don't forget to reach out to us on our forum and use our Help Center resources here to help you edit and resolve any copyright claims you may receive. So, here's the thing. The new UI, we can put that on screen, actually. There's been a lot of nice improvements to the YTAL, and the YouTube audio library is now a form of discoverability on YouTube for musicians. If you upload stuff to the YTAL, yeah, it's a whitelisted license, supposedly. Once YouTube gets it working right, it'll be a whitelisted license. But for anything with the YouTube icon there, this is the sort of thing. Hey, there's DJ Williams showing up there. Been having a lot of fun with his rhythm and blues, music lately. But there are pop-ups, as you can see, even from this preview, little icons that'll take you to their YouTube channel. And one of the newer things that YouTube has come out with is they said they may actually credit artists on your videos. I think that's mostly, from what they're telling me, the Creative Commons tracks with an attribution license, where the system will add that for you so you don't have to keep pasting it into your description, which means the folks at NCS should probably do that for their tracks, because they have this thing where you must include this in your description. If there's a way for them to get into this system and automate that, might be that more people want to use NCS music if they're into electronic sounding dubstep stuff like that. I peruse it every so often. But other than that AU5 Interstellar song, it's not really my thing. Never really got into dubstep, and at this point, dubstep is so much of a 2010s music fad that I'm wondering if it's going to start sounding old if I use it in YouTube videos. So, here's the thing, though. Once again, YouTube has come out and said that you should not have to worry about copyright when you're using their stuff. Let's blow this up even bigger to even huge fine print, or not so fine print. Let's see here. There we go. The audio library has thousands of copyright-safe tracks that you can use in your videos or live streams, nice, without worrying about copyright claims. The catalog gets updated twice a month with brand new content. The commissioned music is fully owned by YouTube, with some tracks licensed to YouTube to use under the Creator Commons license. So, once YouTube's tech teams fix this loophole with Content ID, this is basically what they're going for here. So they're coming out and saying even more. It is 100% YouTube, no copyright problems, etc., etc. And the YTAL is being upgraded to serve as a form of discoverability for artists. We'll get that on screen shortly. But let's go over to this thing. Let's go over to this help article. So over on YouTube, I've heard some people asking about with everything going on over on Twitch, how does DMCA work on YouTube? So what can happen to you if you're playing copyrighted music? And again, this really shows the maturity of YouTube's technology and the fact that when you offer rights holders options or alternatives to strikes, they'll take them. Because remember, if you have the right content on your platform, you're talking a scaling source of revenue from redirected ad revenue and stuff like that. And this is where Devin Nash and I go our separate ways. Hard. He and I often disagree on a lot of things because we have very different perspectives on the very same business issues, despite both having business backgrounds and things like that. But I can tell you right now, I do not for a second believe that YouTube is scared of the record industry, and that's why they did this. I'm very, very surprised that Devin Nash, big marketer guy that he is, didn't talk about this in terms of brand management. What do I mean by that? What is Twitch infamous for right now? DMCA. Let's go full screen for this. I can't emphasize this enough. What is Twitch infamous for right now? DMCA. It is hurting their brand. Twitch is the platform where you're going to get striked into oblivion. The strikes never expire. You need to make a VOD channel. You got to make a clips channel. You got to make all kinds of YouTube channels to dump your stuff off to, or the RIAA is going to come get you. That's where Twitch is at brand-wise right now. So, from a business perspective, if YouTube doesn't have that reputation, because they have all these alternatives, and it isn't Strike-a-Palooza or DMCAmageddon over there, why wouldn't they sacrifice some advertising revenue? And it's funny, Devin Nash talks about how YouTube brings $30 billion a year and they're scared of the record industry. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think it's a brand move. It's kind of like when there's something called a loss leader when you're selling stuff in retail, and you are going to sell stuff in a store at a loss. You're going to lose, maybe even lose money on every single item sold because it's going to bring people into the store and they can buy something else when they're there. There's things like parent and child SKUs, as I've heard it called, where we're going to take a hit on this one because we can probably sell this thing if we put it next to the thing that we're going to get people into the store with, or something like that. Merchandising is a really interesting thing. If you're interested in how stores decide where to put stuff and how to sell stuff, merchandising and learning about that can be really interesting, even though it's boring business stuff. But YouTube has alternatives. And so because of this, people aren't talking about copyright-mageddon on YouTube like they used to. And rights holders, now that the systems have had some time to be around for a while, something's rattling on my desk. What is it? Oh, let's do that first. Nah, something. Oh, yeah, I think it was the temperature thingy hitting the TV. So rights holders have alternatives because of that, and one of them is monetization. If you monetize, redirect all the ad revenue, every single time someone uses your stuff, that just adds to that little bit of money that keeps building up, and it eventually builds up into something significant. So at that point, you're like, oh, we're getting money from this anyways, as opposed to maybe I don't know what the numbers are versus licenses and royalties and stuff like that. But bottom line, you have a situation, and whenever YouTube has something in a video, it says license to YouTube by. So maybe there is a license that as a platform YouTube is involved with, in order for the site to be not a giant copyright minefield like it used to be. I'm not saying go on there and play Kanye West in your streams, by the way, because don't forget, every single, even a Content ID claim for monetization, transfers the power of death from your channel to somebody else. Like we talked about last week with the power of death. Who has the ability to destroy you as a content creator via systems of some sort? So today's monetization redirect altmon thing could turn into a DMCA tomorrow. Because when you match in the copyright system You can go to a copyright control panel. Even creators like myself with YouTube Studio, I can actually look at my copyright control panel, see where my content has been re-uploaded somewhere else without my permission, and DMCA them. I don't have access to monetization options. I don't know why YouTube doesn't let more people do that. But I could DMCA someone right now, because I know there's at least a few people out there that are uploading my stuff without my permission. So the breadcrumbs are there. If the rights holder ever wants to give you a copyright strike, they have the breadcrumbs to do so. So just because YouTube has a better system doesn't mean it's foolproof, or doesn't mean that somebody at RIAA or somewhere can have a bad day and then turn around and go on a striking spree. It's just that there's ways to blunt that by giving rights holders other options, including options to make more money or lock down distribution of something by blocking, instead of having to issue strikes. So in the live streaming environment, here's what it is for copyright issues with live streams. And tell me if this doesn't sound like a better system than Twitch's strikes-only system, and the reason why I'm emphasizing the living daylights out of this. All live streams are scanned for matches to third-party content, including copyrighted content, in the form of another live broadcast. When a third-party content is identified, a placeholder image may replace your live stream. You'll be warned to stop streaming the third-party content. If you comply with this warning and address the issues, your stream can continue. If the third-party content remains in your stream, your live stream will be temporarily interrupted or terminated. Your stream can also be terminated if you get a copyright or community guidelines strike. So look at this. The nightmare situation that I heard Devin and I think it was Jake and Bake talking about is, oh, I'm an IRL streamer. Somebody goes by with a loud radio and a 50 Cent song makes it into my stream. Something that copyright folks would call incidental use. I get a strike, right? Here's what happens on YouTube. Guy goes by with the loud radio. You get a warning. There is copyrighted content in your stream. Stop it or we're going to stop your stream. The truck drives by, or you do something to your audio so that it doesn't go through, you keep going. There is no live strikes or anything like these nightmare situations like all these commentators are talking about. It's crazy. So what do you know? An automated system actually makes YouTube look like they have more of a human face on what they do than Twitch. Twitch is usually who I associate with in terms of a human face on things like disciplinary action and dealing with content creators. Seriously. If your live stream stops, check your YouTube dashboard for strikes. If you fix the issues listed, your access to live streaming can be restored. Live stream licensed third-party content. This is where if you know a rights holder and they want you to use their stuff, and they allow you to use their stuff, this is where they can whitelist your content channel-wide. If you've licensed the third-party content to use in your stream, ask the owner of the content to add your channel to their allow list through Content ID. So this is where they say, yes, they have permission. The system knows you have permission and you don't get these issues and things like that. Content ID claims on archived live streams. This is what I ran into. Content ID claims are only made after you complete your live streams. That's when you get scanned. If you decide to archive the video, learn more about Content ID claims. But bottom line, Content ID, so there's a different system, and this is exactly what I suspected was going on, because the experience I've had on YouTube streaming is that it's like YouTube uploads, but 3 or 4 years ago. It's a much cruder system. Literally every single stream that I do gets demonetized, but if I let the VOD sit around throughout the extended processing, it remonetizes when it's done. Or if I make a spin-off video, it'll be monetized even though the stream was demonetized. So much cruder system. And this actually tells me flat out, there are different systems for this sort of stuff between streams and videos. So let's see here. What else do we have tabs open for? I think we can do that. Ryan White, I'll tell you what, with YouTube gaming, whoops. With YouTube gaming, streamers don't mess around when it comes to pulling live viewership. This is an example of some big numbers from people playing Among Us the other day. Just an example of some of what Team Red has up their sleeve these days with all the technology that's helping streamers out. But yeah, aggressive. They're in totally aggressive growth mode. It's not a viewer's right to know every little detail about a streamer. Dear naive streamer mentor, incomplete information is what always gets twisted. If you don't control the narrative controls you. That's a different topic. talking about, that's something completely different. We can talk about that some other time. We'll just trash that for now. No, I think this DMCA stuff is way too, this DMCA stuff is just way too interesting to really walk away from it at this point. Got the emphasis on concurrence, got the YouTube, de facto YouTubers, got the claim letter. I'm just closing a bunch of tabs right now. We can probably get rid of the Twitch has to scramble thing from last go around as well. Okay, so here is something that is on topic. The YouTube audio library license. This is the new license on the YTAL. You are free to use this for any track that has a YouTube thing on it that says that it's a YouTube track and not Creative Commons. You're free to use this audio track in any of your videos, including videos that you monetize. No attribution is required. YouTube may credit the artist and link the audio library from your video. You may not make available, distribute, or perform the music files from this library separately from videos and other content into which you have incorporated these music files. Standalone distribution of these files is not permitted. That's the license from last time, but this is the new license for the YouTube audio library. Now, there is an article I want to go over, which I talked about Devin Nash earlier. One of the things about Devin Nash is that I'm appalled sometimes at things he misses. So let me just go back to my tweet from earlier, and we'll save the stuff about, you know, managing your image and stuff as a streamer for some other time, because this DMCA stuff is just way too meaty. We're just going to focus specifically on DMCA. Zach Bussey talking today about WWE forcing streamers. Oh, it's his recap. It's his pre-cap, I should say, what he's going to talk about on his show. Let's see here. Let me go. Where is that thing here for Mr. Nash we were talking about earlier? There it is. Devin Nash's latest YouTube video really shows the limits of making YouTube videos while streaming. He didn't give any examples of streamers who were sued on YouTube and biffed the options rights holders have with Content ID. The rest of the story, I linked to an article, twitter.com/MultimediaJay, by the way, from the American Bar Association, the law of YouTubers, the next generation of creators, and the legal issues they face. This is the thing. When you're talking about the multimedia meta, you always got to remember that a live stream is inherently limited compared to crafting something from scratch. And I think Devin really illustrated this. One of the things he does is he'll shut off the music and stuff. Oh, we're going to record a YouTube video now, but he's still doing it while streaming. So it's still one take. So if he misses something, he has no chance to fix it. So unless he just catches himself and redoes the whole thing from scratch. Not really the best way to do stuff on YouTube. And it was interesting how he talked about the RIAA suing YouTubers a long time ago, but didn't give any of the high-profile examples. Someone had to pass it along to him in order for him to recognize this. And, of course, he didn't mention all the options that content creators have, rights holders have, with Content ID. It just goes to show, you know, a lot of people like to say that this red versus purple thing is not legit, but I'm telling you right now, you can tell who the Twitch streamers are that are using YouTube as a means to an end because Twitch isn't doing enough, just by the vocabulary they use, the way they talk about YouTube, the way they talk about YouTube's features, and overall the kind of videos they make. So you go to a streamer's YouTube channel, there'll be clickbait all over the place, even though there are very successful YouTube channels that don't clickbait, so the audience knows that they're not being messed with. It's just all of these things. They learn just enough about YouTube to clickbait the hell out of their channel. But they don't really take the platform as seriously as they should. That's why I'm coming out with these videos for the new MultimediaJay vlog to talk about the multimedia meta and give the YouTubers perspective in direct response to what these Twitch streamers are doing that are essentially hijacking the platform and its reputation. And it's only going to get worse. It was one thing when Twitch streamers cluttered up YouTube with sometimes not very well produced stream highlight videos. But now that we're going to have VODs getting dumped because of concerns about DMCA, it gets worse before it gets better, people. Let's put this article on the screen. Yeah, cookie usage. Do you want to do cookies? Blah, blah, blah. It's kind of lavender for an article that's supposed to be read by lawyers and stuff, but here we go. The law of YouTubers, the next generation of creators, and the legal issues they face. And the American Bar Association, check out the link on Twitter. I'm not going to billboard this entire article, and I'm only going to pick bits and pieces out of it. But this article by itself contains many of the missing. It's from 2017 as well. Yeah, copyright 2017. Published in landslide by the American Bar Association. So don't disseminate it without express written permission. So read it yourself. Some of the highlights, though, that I want to comment on, commentary style, is they talk about, for example, the development of cord cutter generations, especially younger people, the Gen Zs in particular, that have grown up with smartphones. YouTube versus TV and YouTube versus radio, even. Copyright infringement. This is all, a lot of what they talk about in terms of the historical stuff with regards to what YouTube has been through is common knowledge. Anybody who's been around YouTube any decent amount of time who knows YouTube's history knows about the infamous Viacom lawsuit. And back then, I would say Viacom had a pretty strong claim against YouTube because people were using YouTube as like a VCR for like Family Guy episodes and stuff. That's the infamous example, is Family Guy was all over YouTube, unauthorized. I think nowadays, there is a Family Guy channel that has authorized clips on there, but so many people were using YouTube as a VCR for television shows once upon a time. And here's the thing. You get folks like me trying to play the game correctly, so to speak, not cheat, who want to make our own content with respecting asset permissions. We don't get views because we're not as interesting as these people that are reposting late night comedy or Family Guy or something along those lines. So in a sense, when YouTube made these changes and when YouTube found itself up against Viacom in that lawsuit, it was the sort of thing where things got better for people that were playing by the rules. And I think the same thing's going to happen to Twitch streamers with everybody afraid of DMCA. We'll probably see streamers become more popular who are just playing like the in-game music or something instead of always having to insert EDM or something. So you can actually check out the games that they're playing if you're curious about the video games. That's a different discussion, though. But it is one of the side effects of DMCA. Tell me if any of this sounds familiar with the RIAA issue right now. Viacom further alleged that YouTube failed to take action in an effort to increase popularity of the platform. So this is not a new argument. RIAA is like, oh yeah, Twitch isn't responding to all of our DMCAs, and that latest thing that they argued back and forth with them about. Well, Viacom and YouTube, similar thing. This is the case, though, that got sent to Devin Nash when he wasn't talking about examples. I saw it on his stream VOD later on. Lens versus Universal Music Group. Lens versus, I guess it would be UMG or something. Lens versus Universal Music. 2007. What happened, this is why I talk about like someone dancing to something on the radio and it getting DMCA'd. Because that's what it was. Her toddler son at the time DMCA'd because a Prince song was playing in the background. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, an appeals court, not the Supreme Court, issued a controversial opinion which held that copyright owners must consider whether an allegedly infringing work constitutes fair use when they claim videos. But until that becomes something that the Supreme Court rules on, it's just a court in California that's known for leaning a little to the left in terms of their decisions. So there are some other issues too that this article goes into detail on. For copyright reasons, we will not recap them. There must be a reason why you should still read this article despite me talking about it here. So by all means, links on my Twitter. Content ID is a system implemented by YouTube to assist copyright owners with identification, management, protection of their content. So they can submit their works to be fingerprinted. ACR, automatic content recognition, is the formal name for the technology. So when there is a match, and this is something that you can see on YouTube's help files as well. Besides a DMCA strike, what can rights holders do? See here. Block, mute, monetize, or track. That's why I couldn't remember the fourth one, because it was just keep an eye on it. So, and they can be further customized to be territory specific. So if you're a rights holder in Germany and you think they're going to hurt your, they're going to hurt you in the German market, but you want to be introduced elsewhere, you can have just a countrywide block in Germany. So, and put ads everywhere else or something. So rights holders have the bottom line, and the reason why I'm talking about all of this is because rights holders have so many more options on YouTube, and YouTube systems create so many more possibilities for how these circumstances are going to be handled than what currently exists on Twitch. Yeah, it's kind of like oh yeah, YouTube's better than Twitch. Well, that's because they are. They're many years ahead of Twitch on this. And now that Twitch has been forced into this arena, their lack of features, even the ability to private a VOD, is now a source of concern for creators. Even their ability to private a VOD. Yeah. Let's see here. What's some other stuff as well? There's a copyright school video, which you can, use to as ways of getting past like strikes and claims and stuff. Agreement Ultra, credit the artist, put an iTunes purchase link, etc. There was someone, a makeup artist on YouTube, who got sued by a record company. Videos are claimed through Content ID, but she had an agreement that she credit the artist. So there was an issue where, despite an agreement with the record company, DMCAs were still issued. Somebody didn't talk to somebody, and it wound up in a countersuit. So this is an older article, so it talks about features that no longer exist, like the music policies page, and things along those lines, as we found out the hard way last week. But I found out the hard way on that because I don't use copyrighted music. I've known not to do that for a very long time. And I think this gets to my final point about this matter. The American Bar Association, AmericanBar.org. I have a link to the specific article about the law of YouTubers, which will now very much apply to Twitch streamers once Twitch rolls out some more robust features. Here's the last point I want to make about all of this, and it is something that every creator needs to think about on Twitch with regards to your relationship with copyrighted music. Yes, the RIAA is going crazy with clips. Why would they do that? We know that from a business perspective, the RIAA is about making its members more money. So, if that's your job, how do you do that on Twitch? With no alternatives to strikes, you only have strikes available. That's what you end up using. So the question I think some folks might have is, why has it been so much of a focus on clips? So if you follow other people that talk about this, Devin Nash has actually had a hands-on demonstration of this technology. So I don't agree with the guy on a lot of stuff, but I keep an eye on what he's talking about from time to time. But I can believe him when he says that the RIAA wants crawler technology to auto-issue DMCAs to a strikes-only platform like Twitch. I can believe that. But why would they be so obsessed with clips? So you're running something that's crawling and looking for as many infractions as possible, so that way you can auto-send out the DMCAs, and the amount of time that the system is operating is more productive in general. It's supposed to find stuff that's wrong, not be scanning VODs forever and ever. And this is one of the reasons why I disabled clips on my channel, by the way, over on Twitch. So, what clips represent, what is a clip supposed to be? It's a part of the stream that someone finds interesting. What do you think the odds are of someone playing copyrighted music during key peak moments in their streams that their audience really applauded in the chat? What do you think? Yeah. Think someone who doesn't know anything about copyright or why commercial music is commercial. I should probably start calling it commercial music. Technically, any work of art is copyrighted, but we're talking about RIAA stuff here, so commercial music. Think about it, though. What makes commercial music commercial? Licensing and royalties. So, you're the RIAA, you want to make productive use of a system to clamp down on infringement that's costing your clients money. What do? Think of every single streamer out there who doesn't know anything about copyright that may have a big moment, like they may have a big win in Overwatch or something. Don't know if any Overwatch players would do this, but they win some huge something or another on their stream. They start playing We Are the Champions by Queen. When would they want to do that? Oh, we won the match. We are the champions. Yeah. So that shows up in a clip. Robot from the RIAA finds it. DMCA. Now, when you have a system that's running for hours on end, Do you want that system to be constantly getting bogged? You have a system that's crawling for DMCA violations. Do you want that system to get bogged down on one streamer for too long because it's going through hours and hours and hours of VODs? Or do you want to essentially crowdsource, oh, the hottest moments, yeah, they might get a little excited and play some copyrighted music to celebrate. So you have clips that are limited to a minute. You can get a lot of streamers. You can have the same amount of resources audit a lot more streamers at once through clips than VODs or highlights. So why is it any surprise, anybody out there, that the RIAA, and I'm going to go look at this after the show. I want to double check what happened to Fuseli as well, that there's such an emphasis on clips. Because anybody can make clips. There can be a lot of clips, and Twitch is actually getting aggressive with clip creation as well, in terms of blocking copyrighted songs or trying to be more paranoid. I think they know that this is a flashpoint with the RIAA, that the RIAA has a compelling reason to scan clips more than literally anything else on the platform. Don't forget, a clip, if you search clip, find a violation, you could probably use the link to go back to, you could actually use the link to go back to the full-length video if it was still available. But clips also, if nobody uses highlights, outlive the VODs when the VODs expire. So that's some of what I deleted from my channel. There was somebody who actually made a clip long time ago in 2016 when I tried over the pathetic internet I had at the time. I tried streaming outside of OBS using NVIDIA Shadow Play, the broadcast feature that existed there, which is terrible compared to OBS. There was lag, there was artifacts. I did better on my old internet with OBS than I ever did with NVIDIA Shadow Play. Way better. I don't see any point in using the built-in streaming function on there when OBS is just that much better at controlling the bandwidth versus quality ratio. But that's the thing. That clip was still there years later. And what are we seeing over and over again from these people getting DMCA'd? Clips from years ago. Clips. From an IT perspective, it makes all the sense in the world for the RIAA to focus on clips. They have a system. It can only do X amount of things per whatever. So to make more use of its time, better use of its time, finding infractions, go after clips. You know, go after clips because you'll be able to rotate through more streamers because it's 1 minute of each, probably find more violations, and you essentially crowdsource finding the key moments in the streams that might contain the copyrighted music when they were excited and whatnot. Or how about someone does a big dono, like what I used to see with the IRL folks over in Korea. Big dono, we're going to stop the stream and dance to this K-pop song for 2 minutes. There you go. Bottom line, I think the RIAA knows what they're doing with the emphasis on clips. Clips are what people need to be concerned about more than anything else. They should be concerned about everything. But I think the flashpoint is going to be clips as this system gets up and running, because from an IT perspective, it's better to crawl lots of clips than to crawl highlights and VODs. Plus, when do streamers use highlights? When do streamers actually make highlights? I think streamers overall, since I've been involved with this platform, are way more likely to download, edit, re-upload to YouTube or use the export feature to go to YouTube. So they're way more likely to do that. So streamers infamously don't run ads. They don't do highlights. So of course clips and VODs expire unless the streamer turns a VOD into a clip via the highlights tool. Who does that? How popular is that? Now, if you want to scan somebody's entire stream history, for the most part, across all streamers and see what they've been doing that's infringing, you're talking clips. It has to be clips. Nothing but clips. Clips are your biggest source of potential infractions. So it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that the RIAA has had such an emphasis on clips, and the two high-profile examples from this week were both clips. Now, last point before we call it with this discussion. I call copyrighted music commercial music. It's what the RIAA is trying to defend their revenue with. So, I know we all grew up with commercial music. We grew up listening to the radio. We grew up hearing themes on TV, etc. But if you're a content creator, it's time for you to rethink your relationship to commercial music as the minefield that it is. Given one of the precedents that we've talked about with regards to the DMCA during YouTube's darker years, One of those precedents was somebody getting sued by a record company even though they had a license to play the music. There was a bureaucratic miss somewhere. Somebody didn't tell somebody something, and she wound up getting erroneously sued, even though she had an agreement to use the music. You can't trust an industry that persistently has its head in the past. Or, should I say, an organization that is borderline collusive in nature, if you know what that means in the world of business. That is known for doing this stuff and has been known for doing this stuff for decades. We're seeing it now, 2020, DMCAmageddon. There were incidents in the 2010s, there were incidents in the 2000s. If you look back at the history of the music and movie industry in the US, you'll see a lot more antagonism towards technology. VCRs, among other things, going way back. This is not a new issue. It is a very, very old issue with an industry that has more than enough of a reputation that any content creator out there should be steering clear of commercial music. I know you grew up with it. I know you like it. So do I. But it has been such a minefield. It has been such a source of trouble, even in cases where people have the rights to use the music. Between all the automated systems not working correctly and that precedent where someone got sued even though they had a license, why would you trust commercial music? Why? Ever? Why would you ever trust commercial music? Don't. The only way, the RIAA is all about the money here. Deny them that money. Recently, I made a playlist of 50 songs, commercial music songs, that I've been introduced to because of streamers. 50 songs. I stopped it at 50 because I think that's good, a nice number. These are songs that I didn't hear on the radio. I didn't hear them at work over the PA. I didn't hear them at Walmart over the PA. I didn't hear them anywhere over a PA. I would have not had any idea that these songs even existed, but were it not for live streamers playing them. This is the kind of buzz and exposure that the RIAA has persistently shown that they don't really support. And this is a business decision that is going to have consequences before anybody changes over there, if they're ever going to change at all. Could be the case they steadfastly refuse to change and they go down with the ship, so to speak. But there's a lot of people out there that are cynical, as I am, of this DMCA thing. And they're talking about how things are changing. That artists, people who want to be musicians, have more options now, including direct distribution, to not have to get these bureaucracies involved. But until that becomes more popular, we still have the old guard to contend with. So if you are involved in content creation, Twitch, YouTube, or otherwise, you need to rethink your entire relationship to commercial music and become a connoisseur of indie, copyright-free, YouTube audio library, stuff that sounds good. You may have to dig for it, but it's out there and you can go find it. And that way you can snub this entire bureaucracy by not using their stuff and not being open to takedowns or claims even. Or even, that's the thing, you know, I could theoretically just be, okay, record companies have all the revenue. And I could pull a stunt like what What's-His-Face did over on YouTube, where he actually made an audio watermark and Content ID'd his own videos to force a 50-50 revenue split with anybody who tried to claim his videos. I could pull a stunt like that if I really wanted to, but by essentially trying to build up my channel, trying to entertain people without using copyrighted music, I've picked up some skill at picking tracks from the YTEL. Let's go over to Firefox here. We're done with browser number 1 here. Let me show you the new UI of the YouTube audio library and just what is next. Let me close Discord here. Here's the YouTube audio library's new code of paint. And they have licenses, they have durations when it was added. The new thing is the license type, so you can see the difference between the YouTube tracks. Yeah, and there's where the license came from. The YouTube tracks and the Creative Commons tracks. You can favorite your favorite tracks now. You can also filter by genre, mood, artist. So if you find an artist you really like I did with DJ Williams, you can see all their stuff and check it all out at once. You can play and preview it. So here's that stuff from Patrick Patrikios. But look at the pop-up menu here as well. There's a link to their YouTube channel. And YouTube's talking about creating a system where if you have like a Creative Commons attribution track, the system automatically links you over to their page, to their YouTube channel, or they automatically credit the artist via a system, which would be cool. Content ID already does that with stuff that's claimed. I would love to see more of an integration between Content ID and the YTAL, not only to block nonsense like what I've seen, like what I encountered earlier, but also as a form of discovery. The reason I know that these YTAL songs by Silent Partner have been compromised is because the Content ID thing that showed up on my falsely claimed VOD, so to speak, let me click over to the actual video, which was the Content ID video for that song. That actually let me do that. Imagine if it could do that, where it automatically added that to the description under music in this video, and you could actually check out the artist, or go straight to the YTAL from there. Because then you go to the YTAL, you can actually go to the artist page if they actually have a YouTube channel. Here's Asher Falero, familiar with some of his songs. Close my left menu here. Let's stop this. Bada bing. There you go. Here's Asher Falero's channel. He contributes to the YTAL. DJ Freedom. We can look around here as well. Vans in Japan. That's another group that I got introduced to. They don't have a page. Noir et Blanc V can actually go over to their channel as well. We mentioned this on a few YouTube streams as well. There you go. Some synth tracks and things along those lines. Make some videos as well. This is a way for artists who contribute to the YTAL to have links back to their channel that creators can go to. Now imagine if viewers could go there as well, because YouTube tied this in with Content ID. So, oh, what's that music? You'll see music in this video, and it'll give you a link over to their YouTube channel. Automatic discoverability by being an artist that contributes to the YTAL. Yes, you have to agree to your music being whitelisted across the premier video platform in the world in a very rapidly growing streaming platform. Yes, you have to give up some revenue potential there, but you get this, you want to talk about, oh, artists who want exposure. There you go. By the way, tonight's music track of choice for all the bump stuff is Slinks. Call the Shots. How old is that song? Slink from, oh, June of 2020. Very recent. This might sound familiar. RIP headphone users. Ah! But here you go. Same thing. I can start by Dance Electronic, Mood Bright, see everything Slink does, filter by this artist, or go to his YouTube channel. There you go. I like this UI improvement. And this is, again, it's something where if you become familiar enough with this YouTube feature, you'll know what sounds good and you won't have to worry about copyrighted music. This gives you, creator, the option, and the very strong-armed option, I might add, to blow off the RIAA completely. Don't use any of their stuff. Deny them and their clients the exposure, the shout-outs, anything like that. And introduce folks who are trying to make it in this field, who are like, yeah, use my stuff in your videos, and they're actually giving up some serious revenue potential to do so. You want to talk about swapping revenue for exposure? The new YTAL interface and the direction YouTube's been taking the YTAL is a great example of that. So, meanwhile, we see the RIAA complaining because Twitch soundtrack doesn't have enough licenses. Whatever. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the RIAA to be shown that new media is not a bunch of pansies that are going to live in fear of an organization that wants to be the old guard when it comes to music rights. Blow them off. Don't use their stuff. Become familiar enough with alternatives that you never have to use their stuff, or never even feel the need to use their stuff. Because why not? Same thing with college radio. It took me a while to really appreciate this, but college radio is known for supporting indie stuff. There are artists today who began with their songs getting spun on turntables in college radio stations once upon a time. And I remember so many shows, I couldn't figure this out until I realized it's part of the culture. So many of the shows were playing at least one type of non-mainstream music. And it's like, oh, it's not just because we don't want to sound like the pop station, you know, that also is on the dial, or the rock station. But college radio has a reputation for this kind of thing. Introducing people to different kinds of music besides what's popular, what's hip, or what's whatever. So, essentially, this idea of blowing off commercial music, by the way, the radio station had a license to play commercial music. You could even bring in your CDs and MP3s and play them on the air. But, broadcasting license. But here we are. There's just been so much animosity towards people in online media making YouTube videos or streaming. Why wouldn't you want to blow off the RIAA and never use their stuff ever again? Haven't you been annoyed by them enough? Haven't you lived in fear of them DMCing you into oblivion enough? Haven't you had enough of feeling like Twitch has too much an emphasis on strikes, because right now it's all they have? I hope they develop alternative systems. Haven't you had enough yet? When does it stop? Because at the same time you're risking your livelihoods, in the case of a full-time creator, to be able to play Kanye West or whatever on your stream. There are artists out there that want to amount to something that don't get that kind of exposure. Why not stick up for the little guy? I hope this discussion, ladies and gentlemen, has given you plenty of things to think about. We are 1 week into this mess with Twitch DMCAmageddon. Who knows what it's going to be week 2, 3, or 4, whatever. Let's close by talking about my Twitch channel and what's next. This MultimediaJay TV stuff that I do is replacing the radio style show. I think the radio style show is a product of its time and inferior technology when I was living out in DSL country. Many streamers sound like they're on the radio with baseline features in OBS. Not hard to do. So the more I did stuff with the radio style show, the more it felt limited compared to what I could do with something like this, behind the scenes stuff. But most of my behind the scenes streaming I want to do on YouTube, because not only is it a platform with stronger search technology and stuff, but YouTube also does not have an emphasis on concurrent viewers. So I've had 3, 2, 5, whatever over here, but the bottom line is my only goal on Twitch is affiliate, so 3 concurrent viewers. But if I was trying to go to partner, I couldn't rest in terms of streaming at times when I know it won't help my numbers until I had 75 concurrents and was partnered. We talked about that earlier. Twitch has a unique emphasis on concurrent viewers versus Facebook and YouTube. So Team Purple has a lot of unintended consequences. Think about the behaviors. People playing my stream without saying anything in chat, or playing my stream without really supporting what it is that I do because they want to help me out or something. All these behaviors that lead to bogus engagement, people who don't really care about the streamer or what it is that they're doing, is because of this emphasis on concurrence. So this channel will be about whatever behind the scenes streams I want to do on Twitch, specifically like this one. And gaming stuff. Twitch is mature as a gaming platform, and a lot of times when I've streamed on Twitch lately, I've seen multiple resolutions available. Shoot, I forgot what that was called. Multiprocessing? Darn, slipped my mind. I haven't talked about it in a long time. So the thing where you have multiple resolutions available for people to watch instead of being stuck at 1080p 60. So people need the bandwidth for 1080p 60 just tune into your stream. Darn. Been that long that that totally slipped my mind what it was called. Either way, transcoding. There we go. So I've seen more transcoding than I used to see with Twitch. So that's an improvement at least. So that'll help with the game streaming that I do and whatnot. And of course, if there's drops or something along those lines. But this is largely going to be the home of play some stuff here on Twitch. And whatever behind the scenes stuff that I want to do. I may very well just blank out all the radio style stuff. Most of what I wanted to send over to YouTube is already on YouTube. So either way, this channel is going in a different direction. I'm not doing DMCA-able stuff with copyrighted music. But at the same time, I think given Twitch versus YouTube, the thing I was focusing on before all this happened, it's best to make YouTube my primary streaming platform and save Twitch kind of as a backup or for stuff that Twitch is already better at than YouTube. And I think as more streamers smarten up to why Twitch exclusivity is complete rubbish, we'll see more of this. Social medias, youtube.com/multimediajay, twitter.com/multimediajay, twitch.tv/multimediajay, and multimediajay.wordpress.com. DMCAmageddon.com. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.
What?